On July 28, the United States banned robots, not military drones, consumer robots, humanoids that cost $5,900, less than a used car, robot dogs, and, buried in the fine print, very possibly your next robot vacuum. Even Roomba, because 6 months ago, quietly, Roomba became a Chinese company. The headlines say national security, and there is real spying in this story. But almost no one is covering the money. Who actually builds the world's robots, what disappears from your store shelf, and which American companies just got handed a gift? That's the next 10 minutes. Welcome to MetaCortex, Technology and Money, and what they mean for your investments. We explain how things work, nobody here tells you what to buy. And every number today, every price, every percentage, is sourced and linked below. Here's what actually happened. Every device with a radio, every phone, camera, vacuum, needs an FCC authorization before it can be sold in America. One stamp, no exceptions. The FCC also keeps a blacklist, the covered list, and gear on that list can't get the stamp. It started with Huawei. In 2021, Congress ordered the FCC to stop authorizing equipment it deems a security threat. 2022, Chinese surveillance cameras joined the list. Early this year, the incident, foreign-made home robots, remotely accessed in homes around the world. And on July 28, the vote, advanced robotic devices, and, for the power grid, foreign inverters, joined the list. No recall, no confiscation, just a locked gate, new models can't enter. So what counts as an advanced robotic device? Here is the actual definition. Notice it never says the word humanoid, a machine that moves on the ground under its own control, that senses its surroundings, cameras, LiDAR, microphones, that connects to a network at just 200 kilobits per second, a fraction of 1% of home Wi-Fi. And that weighs more than 4.4 pounds, dock included. Read it again, slowly. A machine that drives around your home, seeing, listening, mapping, connected. That is not a factory humanoid. That is a robot vacuum. And robot lawnmowers. And delivery robots. Cars are exempt. Drones are exempt. They have their own crackdown. Surgical robots, exempt. The living room? Not exempt. Now hold that definition against the shelf at Best Buy. Roborock, the world's #1 robot vacuum maker, roughly 23% of the global market, Chinese. New models, locked out. Ecovacs, maker of the D-Bot, locked out. Dream, Xiaomi, Narwhal, locked out. And iRobot, Roomba itself. We will get to Roomba, because that story is stranger than the ban. Now the part the scary headlines skip, your current robot is fine. Nothing is recalled, nothing gets bricked. Models already authorized keep selling, with no expiry date at all, and they keep getting security updates until at least January 2029. But look at what else is frozen. Those approved models cannot be changed either. A hardware revision needs its own waiver. So the aisle doesn't empty, it freezes. The shelf you see today is, model by model, the last of its kind. Roomba deserves its own minute. iRobot, born in a robotics lab at MIT, the company that put tens of millions of robots into American homes. 2022, Amazon offers $1.7 billion for it. European regulators balk. The deal dies in early 2024, and with it, the rescue. Sales bleed. Late 2025, Chapter 11. And the buyer, this January? Not a Silicon Valley fund. Paisia Robotics of Shenzhen, the Chinese factory that had been building Roombas under contract all along. The manufacturer bought the brand. So on July 28, the most American robot in history woke up on the Chinese side of an American ban. Whatever Roomba ships next may need the Department of War's permission to enter the country it was invented in. Now the case for the ban, because it is not paranoia. Early this year, foreign-made home robots were remotely accessed. Real homes, multiple countries. What leaked? Live camera feeds, microphone audio, and the quiet one, maps, centimeter-accurate floor plans of people's homes. Where the bed is, where the safe is. Separately, researchers found a pre-installed backdoor in Unitree's robot dog, and models transmitting data to servers in China without the owner knowing. And under China's national intelligence law, when the state asks a company for data, cooperation is not a choice, it is a legal obligation. A robot vacuum is a networked camera, microphone and mapper that lives inside your home. So hold both facts at once, the security exposure is real, and the ban is very, very convenient. For whom? Next. Here's why the ban text never needs to say the word China. Global humanoid robot installations last year. Shanghai's iRobot, 30.4%. Hangzhou's Unitree, 26.4%. Other Chinese makers, UB Tech, Engine AI, Gulbit, roughly another 25. Everyone else on Earth, America, Japan, Europe, Korea, under 20, combined. 4 out of 5 humanoid robots on this planet are built in China, so the rule just says foreign produced, and lets arithmetic do the targeting. Officially it is country neutral. A Korean robot needs the same waiver as a Chinese one. And foreign here is not about flags, it is a cost test, borrowed from Buy American rules. Enough of your parts, by value, have to be made in America. In practice, there was only ever one target. And here is the scene almost nobody covered, the price list. Unitrees are 1. A full humanoid robot, $5,900. Less than a used Corolla. Its bigger brother, the G1. The one doing kung fu on your feed, $16,000. Both shipping today, to everywhere except, now, America. Tesla's Optimus. Musk promises under $30,000, but you cannot buy one, and the target is late 27. Figures robot. No public price at all. Analysts guess $50,000 and up, sold to warehouses, not homes. See the shape of it? The ban removed the cheap half of the market, the half that exists, years before the American half arrives. When the remaining sellers haven't shipped yet, your future price isn't set by competition. It's set by permission. Follow the money to the winners. Tesla, Optimus's biggest rivals, just vanished from its home market by federal order. Figure, assembling robots in San Jose. Agility Robotics, whose Oregon plant can build 10,000 robots a year. None of them asked for a tariff. They got something better, a wall. A ban on your competitors is the cheapest subsidy ever invented. And read the carve-outs. The federal government exempted itself. Washington can keep buying the very robots it calls a national security threat. Then read the escape hatch. A foreign maker can apply to the Department of War for conditional approval, and look at what that application demands. Your corporate structure, your foreign ownership, your supply chain, and a plan to build factories in the United States. There is the whole story, in one form. The security review has an industrial policy stapled to it. The way back into the American market is to move your factory here. Security and protectionism were never competing explanations. They are one policy, wearing both hats. The losers are quieter. Consumers, the cheap end of every robot aisle disappears model by model, and fewer sellers has meant higher prices in every market ever studied. Research labs, American universities were Unitree's main U.S. customers. Their $16,000 platform now has no successor. American startups, the ones building software on cheap Chinese hardware, just lost their supply line. And Chinese robot makers lost their IPO story. Unitree and iRobot filed to go public weeks before the ban. UB tech stock dropped 6% on the news. Added up, the bill for this wall is paid in prices, in research, and in time, mostly by everyone who is not already big. Beijing's answer came within a day. National security, it said, is a pretext to suppress Chinese companies, and China will take, quote, all measures necessary. That phrase is not decoration. China has 2 levers it has pulled before. Lever 1. Rare earths, the magnet metals in every robot joint, every EV motor, every missile. China controls roughly 90% of the refining. Lever 2. Market access. Tesla and Nvidia earn enormous revenue inside China, and Beijing decides, daily, how welcome they are. Notice the symmetry. America's wall protects Tesla at home. China's counterwall can punish Tesla abroad. The same company sits on both sides of this board. If a lever gets pulled, that is not this episode. That is the next one. The lessons, bigger than robots. A ban on rivals is a subsidy nobody had to vote on, and someone always cashes it. Blacklists like the covered list never touch the past, they starve the future. Slow, quiet, compounding. Security and protectionism are not either or. The honest reading of most tech bans is both at once. Whoever owns the cheap end of a technology owns its volume, its data, and eventually its standards. That is why a $6,000 robot scares Washington more than a $50,000 one. And retaliation rarely answers on the same board. The reply to a robot ban may arrive in metals. Or in Teslas. The whole story, in 30 seconds. On July 28, the FCC added advanced robots and power inverters to its covered list. New foreign models can no longer be authorized for sale in America. The definition, over 4.4 pounds, senses its world, connected, covers robot vacuums, including new Roombas. iRobot has been Chinese-owned since January. Nothing you own is affected. Approved models sell on and stay patched to at least 2029. But they are frozen. No hardware changes. The aisle doesn't empty, it stops moving. China builds 4 of 5 humanoid robots, at prices America can't yet match. The ban removes the cheap half before the American half exists. Winners: Tesla, Figure, Agility, and Washington, which exempted itself. China promises all measures necessary. Watch the rare earths. This ban is one wall in a longer war, and we have already mapped another front, the machine China cannot buy. That's the EUV episode, on screen now, and it is the same playbook pointed the other way. Next to it, the bond revolt that set this summer's stakes. If this made the robot headlines make sense, subscribe, that's the whole ask. And if Beijing pulls the rare earth lever, we will explain that machine the week it happens.